The energy fix. Change the signals. Change the system. Change your life. A presentation by Dr. Pallab Chatterjee. I'd like to begin with a question. How many of you woke up this morning feeling completely energized? No coffee required. No afternoon slump expected. Ready to take on the day. In most rooms, very few hands go up. We have accepted something that isn't normal. We have accepted low energy as the price of getting older. But what if fatigue isn't the disease? What if it's the warning light? Every symptom begins with energy. Before disease develops, before blood tests become abnormal, before a diagnosis ever appears, our cellular energy system has already begun to decline. For decades, we have thought about health backwards. We ask, how do I lose weight? How do I lower cholesterol? How do I prevent diabetes? How do I avoid Alzheimer's? Those are important questions, but they are not the first question. The first question is this: how well is my body producing energy? Every heartbeat, every thought, every immune cell, every muscle contraction, every repair process depends on one thing: ATP, cellular energy. If your cells cannot efficiently produce energy, every system in your body begins to decline. That is why fatigue often appears years before disease. Weight gain comes later. Brain fog comes later. High blood sugar comes later. And diagnosis comes much later still. Health isn't simply the absence of disease. Health is the ability to create and use energy efficiently. That is the operating system of life. Let me introduce you to two people you'll meet throughout this presentation. Raj was 42, a successful executive, long hours, always busy. He thought he was healthy because his annual physical always came back normal, yet he was exhausted, 20 pounds overweight, dependent on coffee, living with brain fog every single afternoon. He assumed that was simply adulthood. Priya looked completely different. She exercised. She ate organic food. She practiced yoga. Everyone admired her discipline. Yet she woke up every night at 3 o'clock in the morning. She couldn't concentrate. Her anxiety was increasing. And her doctor told her everything looks normal. Two very different people. The same underlying problem. Their energy system was quietly failing. Here is a simple way to picture it. Imagine your body as a city. Every building, every hospital, every traffic light, every computer needs electricity. If the power plants begin producing less electricity, the city doesn't shut down immediately. Lights flicker, traffic slows, repairs take longer. Eventually, entire neighborhoods fail. Your mitochondria are those power plants. Everything begins there. Now, how many of these have you said out loud? I'm just getting older. I'm always tired. I can't lose weight anymore. I don't think as clearly as I used to. Those are not personality traits. They are biological signals. So the obvious next question becomes, if energy is the foundation of health, where exactly does that energy come from? Let's look inside the
E-cell.
Right now, while you're sitting here listening, your body is producing enough energy every day to roughly equal your own body weight in ATP. Most people have never heard of ATP, yet without it, you would be dead in seconds. Your body is an energy production system, not just a collection of organs. Most of us learn biology as separate parts: heart, brain, liver, kidneys, muscles. But biology doesn't actually work that way. Every organ depends upon trillions of tiny power plants called mitochondria. They take oxygen, combine it with nutrients, and manufacture ATP. And ATP powers everything: thinking, walking, healing, memory, hormones, immune function every second, every day. When mitochondria work well, life feels effortless. You recover quickly. Your brain is sharp. Your metabolism works. Your muscles respond. When mitochondria struggle, nothing immediately breaks. Instead, you slowly normalize feeling tired. And that is the dangerous part. Because the decline is gradual, we assume it is normal. Raj believed he had a blood sugar problem. He thought he simply needed to eat less sugar. What he eventually discovered changed everything. He didn't have a sugar problem. He had an energy conversion problem. His cells had become poor at converting fuel into usable energy. The engine wasn't broken, it had simply become inefficient. Once he understood that, everything changed. Instead of fighting calories, he started rebuilding his cellular power plants. Think about your smartphone. If the battery only holds 40% of its original charge, you don't blame the apps. You replace the battery. Our bodies work in much the same way. Most symptoms are battery problems, not software problems. So let me ask you, what charges your phone? Everyone answers the battery. Now, what charges your body? Most people answer food. The real answer is mitochondria. So what causes those power plants to fail? They usually don't fail overnight. It is a slow process, one that begins decades before disease. If someone develops diabetes at age 50, when did the disease actually begin? Most people answer age 50. The science says probably age 30. Disease begins years before diagnosis. Modern disease behaves very differently from infectious disease. It isn't sudden, it's silent. Every day, slightly too much sugar, slightly too little movement, slightly too much stress, slightly too little sleep creates microscopic damage, and that damage accumulates. Years later, your doctor finally diagnoses diabetes, or heart disease, or fatty liver, or Alzheimer's. But those diagnoses are the end of the story, not the beginning. Three forces quietly drive this decline. First, cellular overload. Too much energy entering the cell. Second, chronic inflammation. The immune system never completely shuts off. Third, oxidative stress. Tiny amounts of cellular damage accumulating every single day. These three forces feed one another, creating a vicious cycle. Raj thought becoming pre-diabetic happened almost overnight. When he looked back, the clues had been there for 20 years, needing coffee every morning, afternoon crashes, weight gain around his waist, poor sleep, sugar cravings. Every symptom was an early warning. He simply didn't know how to read the dashboard. Think about rust on a car. Rust doesn't suddenly appear one morning. Tiny amounts develop every day. Then one day, you finally notice the hole. Disease works exactly the same way. Diagnosis simply means the damage has finally become visible. How many of you know someone who said, "I was perfectly healthy until my heart attack"? They weren't healthy. They simply hadn't measured the process. So if disease develops slowly, can we interrupt the process? The answer is yes, and it starts with building a stronger system. Everyone wants the newest biohack, the newest supplement, the newest longevity pill. But imagine trying to build a skyscraper on sand. The foundation matters far more than the paint. Longevity is built through systems, not shortcuts. Health isn't one habit. It's a system. I like to compare it to a five-legged table, where each leg supports the others. The first leg is exercise. Movement tells your body to build stronger mitochondria. The second is nutrition. Food isn't just fuel, it is biological information. The third is sleep. This is when repair happens. The fourth is emotional health. Stress changes your hormones, your blood sugar, and your inflammation. And finally, technology and targeted interventions. Supplements, wearables, recovery tools, red light therapy. They are genuinely valuable, but only after the foundation is solid. Most people reverse the order. They spend thousands of dollars on gadgets while sleeping 5 hours a night. Technology should amplify healthy habits, never replace them. Raj ignored every pillar. He worked. He ate whatever was convenient. He slept poorly. He never exercised consistently. And his health slowly declined. Priya was different. She exercised regularly. She ate well. But she ignored stress and recovery. And despite looking healthy, she was metabolically exhausted. Both eventually learned the same lesson. Health isn't about excelling in one area. It's about alignment across all 5 pillars. Imagine an orchestra. You can have the world's greatest violinist, but if every other musician is playing out of tune, the music still sounds terrible. Health works exactly the same way. It isn't one instrument. It's the entire orchestra playing together. So score yourself, honestly, from 1 to 10. Exercise, nutrition, sleep, stress, recovery. Which pillar needs the most attention? We've now built the foundation, but there's one problem. Most people have no idea whether these habits are actually working. Fortunately, we live in a time when we can finally measure our biology in real time. That's where the next chapter begins. I have a simple question. Would you drive from New York to Los Angeles without a dashboard? No speedometer, no fuel gauge, no GPS, no warning lights? Of course not. Yet that is exactly how most people manage their health. And then we're surprised when something breaks, even though we have never once looked under the hood. Measurement transforms health from guesswork into informed decision-making. For most of history, we measured health only after something went wrong. You visited your doctor once a year, a few blood tests, a blood pressure reading, maybe a cholesterol number, and then you waited another year. But your biology doesn't change once a year. It changes every minute. Today we have something extraordinary. We can actually watch our biology in real time. Continuous glucose monitors, smart watches, heart rate variability, sleep tracking, body composition, blood pressure. These aren't toys. They're dashboards. Think about the difference between flying an airplane with instruments versus flying blind through clouds without them. The instruments don't fly the airplane. They simply help the pilot make better decisions. Health data works exactly the same way. The numbers don't improve your health. Your response to those numbers does. Raj thought he was eating a healthy breakfast: steel-cut oats, orange juice, coffee. He expected steady energy. Instead, he checked his glucose. His blood sugar spiked far higher than he expected. And 2 hours later, brain fog, hunger, fatigue. That single measurement changed his behavior more than 10 years of advice. He stopped arguing with his biology. He started learning from it. Imagine you're trying to lose weight and you step on the scale once every 6 months. Would you know whether your habits are working? Probably not. Now imagine stepping on the scale every day. You immediately see the patterns. Health metrics work exactly the same way. Feedback accelerates learning. Who here wears a smartwatch? And how many of you have changed your behavior because your watch told you to stand up, to walk, or to sleep more? That is behavior change driven by feedback. So remember this: measurement doesn't create health. It creates awareness. Awareness creates better decisions. And better decisions create better biology. Measurement tells us what is happening. But most people immediately ask the next question. What technology can actually help me optimize my health? Let's separate the science from the marketing. If I offered you a $2,000 longevity device or 7 hours of quality sleep, which one would improve your health more? Most people buy the device. The science chooses the sleep. Foundations first, technology second. Biohacking has become one of the fastest growing areas in health. Red light therapy, cold plunges, hyperbaric oxygen, supplements, recovery boots, infrared saunas, AI health coaches. Many of these technologies are genuinely exciting. Some are supported by strong evidence. Others have very limited evidence. But here is the mistake many people make. They try to biohack a broken lifestyle. That's like buying racing tires for a car with no engine. Technology works best when the fundamentals are already strong: sleep, nutrition, movement, stress management. Those remain the highest return investments you will ever make. And once those are in place, technology can genuinely accelerate your progress. Raj wanted the newest supplement, the newest wearable, the newest recovery device. His physician asked him one question: how many hours did you sleep last night? 5. Let's fix that first. Priya had the opposite experience. Her fundamentals were strong. She added a wearable, and it revealed that one evening glass of wine was dramatically disrupting her sleep recovery. Technology didn't fix her health. It exposed an invisible problem. Think of technology like a magnifying glass. It doesn't create the picture. It simply helps you see it more clearly. Red light therapy may improve mitochondrial function. Recovery devices may improve circulation. Wearables may improve awareness. But none of them replace healthy biology. Now, be honest. Who has purchased a health gadget they stopped using after a month? The problem wasn't the gadget. The problem was expecting technology to replace habits. Technology earns its place when it does 4 things. It improves awareness. It reinforces healthy behavior. It accelerates recovery. And it provides useful feedback. So if technology is an amplifier, what exactly is it amplifying? The answer begins with the most powerful signal we send our body every single day: food. What if I told you that 2 meals containing exactly the same number of calories could produce completely different biological responses? Calories matter, but biology matters more. Every meal sends instructions to your cells, not just calories. For decades, we have been taught to count calories, and calories certainly matter, but calories don't tell the whole story. Food communicates with your hormones, your immune system, your microbiome, your metabolism, your brain, your mitochondria. Every meal asks your body one question: should I store energy? Should I burn energy? Should I repair tissue? Should I reduce inflammation? Or should I increase it? Protein tells your body to preserve muscle. Fiber feeds your microbiome. Healthy fats stabilize your hormones. Colorful plants reduce oxidative stress. And ultra-processed foods confuse the entire system. The quality of the information matters just as much as the quantity. So instead of asking, how many calories, start asking, what message am I sending my biology? Raj believed oatmeal and orange juice were the perfect breakfast. His glucose monitor revealed otherwise. After switching to eggs, berries, Greek yogurt, and healthy fats, his afternoon crash simply disappeared. Nothing magical happened. He changed the biological signals. Here's another way to think about it. Imagine sending emails to your employees. Some emails contain clear instructions, others contain confusing ones. Eventually, productivity declines. Food works exactly the same way. Healthy food sends clear biological instructions. Ultra-processed food sends confusing signals. So think about what you ate for breakfast this morning. Was it primarily protein or primarily sugar? Your cells already know the answer. Instead of counting calories, build every single meal around four things: protein, fiber, healthy fats, and colorful plants. Then let your carbohydrates support your activity level. So nutrition provides the fuel, but fuel alone doesn't determine performance. A Ferrari running premium fuel still won't perform if it never gets maintenance. Imagine improving your health by just 1% every day. It sounds almost insignificant. Yet over a single year, those tiny improvements compound into a completely different life. Lifestyle is the operating system that determines whether healthy choices become automatic. Most people fail because they rely on motivation. And motivation comes and goes. Systems remain. Health isn't built during a doctor's appointment. It's built during ordinary Tuesdays. When you decide, will I walk after lunch? Will I go to bed on time? Will I put my phone away? Will I prepare tomorrow's breakfast tonight? These tiny choices seem insignificant. But biology responds to consistency. Your circadian rhythm influences your hormones. Sleep repairs your brain. Exercise builds new mitochondria. Stress changes your blood sugar. And your environment shapes your behavior. Small habits, repeated thousands of times, become extraordinary health. Raj started with one habit: a 10-minute walk after lunch. Nothing dramatic, but his glucose improved, his energy improved, his motivation improved. Success created momentum. Priya created a digital sunset. Every evening at 9 o'clock, she turned off every screen. Within weeks, her sleep improved, her anxiety decreased, her focus returned. Neither transformation began with extraordinary discipline. They both began with one small habit. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't negotiate with yourself every morning. It's automatic. Healthy habits should become just as automatic. The brain loves routines. And when habits become automatic, they require very little willpower. So if you could improve just one habit this week, what would it be? Don't choose 5, choose one, master one, then build the next. The highest return. Daily habits are simple. Sleep 7 to 8 hours. Move after meals. Eat protein first. Lift weights twice a week. Reduce your evening screen exposure. And build your habits into your environment. We've now built the body. But there is one organ that consumes more energy than any other, relative to its size: your brain. And protecting your brain begins long before memory problems ever appear. I'd like you to think about the most valuable asset you own. It isn't your house. It isn't your retirement account. It isn't even your career. It's the 3 pounds of tissue sitting between your ears. Your brain is the control center for every decision, every memory, every relationship, and every dream you have ever had. And remarkably, although it represents only about 2% of your body weight, it consumes nearly 20% of your body's energy. Protecting your brain begins decades before memory problems appear. Healthy brains are powered by healthy metabolism. Many people think of Alzheimer's disease, dementia, and cognitive decline as conditions that simply appear with age. Modern science tells a very different story. The brain is one of the most energy-demanding organs in the human body. It requires a continuous supply of oxygen, glucose, healthy blood flow, and functioning mitochondria. When those systems begin to fail, the brain compensates remarkably well. And that is exactly why cognitive decline often develops silently for 20 or 30 years before symptoms become obvious. So protecting your brain is not simply about crossword puzzles or memory games. It begins with stable blood sugar, quality sleep, physical activity, cardiovascular health, emotional resilience, and lifelong learning. Everything is connected. Healthy hearts support healthy brains. Healthy muscles support healthy metabolism. Healthy sleep clears metabolic waste from the brain. Brain health is really whole body health. Raj became interested in brain health after watching his mother struggle with memory loss. He realized that waiting for symptoms would be far too late. So instead of asking, "How do I prevent Alzheimer's?" he started asking, "How do I give my brain more energy every single day?" Priya had a different experience. She wasn't losing memory, she was losing focus. After improving her sleep, reducing her stress, and stabilizing her blood sugar, she noticed something remarkable. Her concentration returned. Her creativity improved. She didn't gain a better brain. She simply restored the energy it needed. Think of your brain as the world's most sophisticated supercomputer. Even the very best computer slows down if the electrical supply becomes unstable. The hardware may be perfect. The electricity is the problem. Your brain works the same way. Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you went there? Most of us have. Occasionally that's completely normal, but repeatedly, it may be your brain asking for better energy, not simply better memory. So to support lifelong brain health, 6 things matter most. Sleep 7 to 8 hours. Exercise regularly. Keep your glucose stable. Challenge your brain with new learning. Build strong social connections. And manage chronic stress. Now, if understanding health were enough, every physician would be perfectly healthy. Every nutritionist would never overeat. Every executive would sleep 8 hours. Knowledge isn't the challenge. Behavior is. Nearly everyone listening already knows what healthy living looks like. Eat better, exercise more, sleep longer, reduce stress, drink more water. So why don't we do it? Because information doesn't change behavior. Identity does. Behavior drives biology. The greatest misunderstanding in health is believing that motivation creates change. Motivation is temporary. Systems are permanent. The healthiest people don't wake up every morning making heroic decisions. They have built environments where healthy choices become automatic. Behavior change follows 4 stages: knowledge, action, identity, lifestyle. Knowledge alone changes nothing. Repeated action builds confidence. Confidence changes identity, and identity changes behavior permanently. Healthy people don't constantly think about becoming healthy. They simply live as healthy people. That's why small wins matter so much. One healthy breakfast, one walk after lunch, one good night's sleep. Those small victories accumulate into an entirely new identity. Raj didn't transform his health by changing everything overnight. He started with one habit, a 10-minute walk after lunch. When that became automatic, he added another, then another. Within a year, his entire lifestyle looked different, not because he suddenly became disciplined, but because he became someone who expected healthy behavior from himself. Priya created one evening habit. Every night at 9 o'clock, she turned off every screen. That one habit improved her sleep. Better sleep improved her energy. More energy improved her exercise. And exercise improved her mood. One habit triggered an entire chain reaction. Imagine pushing over the first domino. The first domino is tiny. The last domino can be enormous. Habits work exactly the same way. Small, consistent actions create exponential results. So let me ask you, if you could improve only one habit over the next 30 days, what would it be? Don't choose the hardest habit. Choose the smallest habit that you will actually do. Successful behavior change requires 5 things: small wins, habit stacking, environment design, accountability, and identity change. So we have discussed energy, nutrition, lifestyle, technology, brain health, and behavior. Now let's bring everything together into one simple operating system. If you remember only one part of this presentation, I hope it's this one. Health is an integrated operating system, not a collection of isolated decisions. Throughout today's discussion, we have explored 9 major ideas: energy, metabolism, longevity, measurement, nutrition, lifestyle, brain health, technology, behavior. These aren't separate topics. They are all parts of one biological operating system. Improve your sleep, and your metabolism improves. Improve your metabolism, and your brain function improves. Improve your movement, and your inflammation decreases. Improve your nutrition, and your energy increases. Everything influences everything else. This is exactly why the book is called The Energy Fix. We are not fixing symptoms. We are fixing the system that creates those symptoms. When the operating system becomes healthier, every application performs better. By the end of their journey, Raj wasn't simply thinner. He had the energy to coach his son's soccer team. He no longer fell asleep during evening conversations. He rediscovered his enthusiasm. Priya stopped chasing perfection. She built consistency instead. She became calmer, sharper, more resilient. Neither of them became younger. Both of them became healthier. That is the goal. Think about updating the operating system on your computer. You don't install separate software for every small problem. You improve the foundation, and everything else performs better. Your biology works exactly the same way. So which of these 9 areas offers your greatest opportunity? Energy, nutrition, sleep, stress, movement, measurement, technology, brain health, behavior? Choose one starting point. And remember this: small improvements, performed consistently, produce extraordinary outcomes. I'd like to leave you with one final story, because ultimately, this presentation isn't about science. It's about life. When I began writing The Energy Fix, I wasn't trying to write another health book. I wanted to change the way people think about health forever. You're not a passive patient. You are the operator of the most extraordinary biological system ever created. Every day, your body listens to you. Every meal, every workout, every night's sleep, every stressful meeting, every decision sends biological instructions, and your body simply follows those instructions. That is incredibly empowering, because it means your future isn't determined by genetics alone. It isn't determined by age alone. It is determined by the signals you consistently provide. You don't have to become perfect. You simply have to become intentional. Small decisions, repeated daily, create remarkable futures. Because the purpose of longevity isn't simply adding years to your life. It's adding life to your years. Having the energy to play with your grandchildren, to travel, to build companies, to pursue dreams, to remain independent, to wake up genuinely excited about tomorrow. That is what this book is really about. So imagine Raj and Priya 20 years later. Neither one became immortal. Neither one escaped aging. But both of them experienced aging differently. Raj watched his grandchildren with energy instead of exhaustion. Priya kept learning, traveling, mentoring, and creating. The difference wasn't luck. It wasn't genetics. It was thousands of small decisions, repeated over decades. Their future was built one habit at a time, and so is yours. Your biology isn't asking you for perfection. It's asking for consistency. Healthy cells respond to healthy signals every single day. So let me ask you one last question. When you wake up tomorrow morning, what is the very first signal you will send your body? I'd like to leave you with one final thought. Your future health is not something that happens to you. It is something you build. One meal, one walk, one night's sleep, one decision at a time. When you change the signals, you change the system. And when you change the system, you change your life. Your future health is not determined by your age. It is determined by the signals you send your biology every single day. Thank you.